First off, James, you've worked for companies such as Selfridges and Anthropologie. How could smaller companies learn from these corporate giants in order to remain competitive?
I think that the great thing about smaller companies is that they can be more dynamic and move faster. I mean, bigger companies take a long time to shift anything dramatically. And certainly my time at Selfridges and Anthropologie, I mean, these guys are highly creative, highly disciplined, and the creativity and understanding what some of these guys are doing and looking for the inspiration and using that to fuse or fuel imagination for smaller businesses, I think is really relevant. So for example, at Anthropologie, our opening window display was made out of 2,500 dried tea bags, and it was kind of like an art installation. That didn't cost a huge amount of money, but it did show great imagination, and smaller independent retailers that come up with very innovative and exciting, imaginative displays are the ones that attract the customers, and people go in and they'll say, this is cool, it's creative, and I'll buy the product.
So cost doesn't have to be a barrier to creativity in any way?
I think cost definitely isn't a barrier to creativity. I mean, it's about imagination, it's about thinking about what you can create out of not much. It's about foraging, it's about looking around and seeing what ideas there are around. So, I mean, our opening window display in the Anthropologie in Regent Street was made out of 2,500 dried tea bags, which created an amazing art installation. And, you know, it didn't cost very much to get those tea bags. What was interesting was the thought process that got us there. And anyone can have great thought processes. And sometimes bigger companies restrict that because they have everything to be formulaic, and that stops the independence and the individual side of things, which is the place where smaller companies can definitely win out, because they can be different, because they're not having to do something across millions of stores.
What are the biggest challenges that you see facing the modern giftware and homeware industry at the moment?
Well, I think that challenges are opportunities, so I would always look at things and say that you know, one should embrace the challenges. I think the whole multimedia, multi-channel and online distribution, etc. is really important. So businesses that aren't online need to be. Businesses that don't understand Facebook and Twitter need to understand it and need to get it together. And I think that over time will become, you know, more the norm as a generation of people who are brought up on iPhones and kind of Android phones or whatever. So I think that supply chain is always a problem. You know, cost of materials is always a problem, and it's all about giving customers value. So again, clever ways of branding, clever ways around presenting products in a way that is meaning that they can charge a little bit more. To, you know, it's about brand, it's about creativity of design, etc. So I think it's very exciting. I think what's also exciting is that more things will be made in the UK, which is exciting and great. And there seems to be, you know, there is certainly in China now. You'll see slightly off piste, but in China, European brands that are made in China, the Chinese super rich don't want to buy, you know, because they say, well, you know, we know that this is made cheap here, so they'd like to see it made in Europe. So European manufacture, I think, is you know, going to be more and more relevant for our customers here, and that's great.
Customer experience is core to any retailer's success in the market. How can retailers ensure they're meeting customers' expectations, given that those expectations are changing every day?
I think you just need to think about your customers and talk to your customers. I mean, it's pretty simple, but you know, if you talk to someone, you understand and have a dialogue, you can understand what they're after, what they're about, and what they're thinking. And you know, retailers need to do that. And again, smaller businesses are able to do that. So the small local businesses that I go into and shop in, you know, when I go and buy clothes or buy gifts, you know, I chat to the guy behind the counter, or the girl who's serving me, and we have a chat, and she can ask me. There's a great load of information from me about the customer that's available, and if you're in a bigger environment, it's harder to get that information because you've got lots of, you know, you've got massive great teams in the way, if you like. So harnessing that knowledge and understanding your customers, and then, you know, understanding their needs, anticipating their needs is really important.
And in your opinion, what makes a strong retail brand in today's environment?
I think it's a combination of, again, back to understanding what the customers are about and what they would like. It's all about amazing products, so you've got to have something that people want, you've got to price it right, you've got to have incredible business disciplines behind it, so the financial disciplines and the stock controls are really, really important. But in the end, it comes down to the execution of that customer experience. Whether it's in a store, you've got to have flawless service, you've got to have great people coming up and excited and inspired about it, and you've got to have a lovely place, a great store experience so that people want to come in. And if it's online, you've got to engage people by a great website, a great proposition, and also reach out to them in the places where they're looking, where they're looking for things. So if you can kind of get as many of those things right, you can be a good retailer today. But retail's a tough business. There's many things that one has to look at to get right in order to be successful. But it's also a really exciting business, and it's a place where imagination and creativity absolutely have their place.
Great. Thank you very much.